Hi everyone, and welcome back to this 50 days sprint to the CAT exam. Today is day 44, and I'm making this video pretty early because I want to address a topic which helps you throughout the day. You might have heard of this advice by the CAT toppers that whenever you come across a weak area in your mock in any particular section, you need to work on it before taking the next mock. This advice holds true no matter which situation you are in or which section you're talking about, but it's not addressed properly. There is no clarity about how to go about it. So, in today's video, I'm going to motivate by giving an example that I faced at the same time around October month when I encountered a weakness of mine. So, I'm going to take you through the process of how I identified a weakness and then how I worked upon it and why exactly I carried out the process. So stay tuned till the end of the video. So let us talk about the time when I faced a weakness. I was going through a time when my mock scores were not stabilizing. I was in the range of 93 to 95 around this time, and I was always wondering why do I face this tension whenever I come across a geometric question in my mocks. So if you are someone who is not able to identify which section is your weaker area, let me give you three ideas. In order to identify your weaker area, recall your previous mocks and think of which chapter did you not want to attempt during your mocks? Which chapter did you face a tendency of skipping whenever the mock came? That's one idea. Another idea is that which chapter did you try attempting questions from but yet spent a lot of time without getting the answer or getting the answer incorrect? And the final idea is that which questions do you feel are tougher in the exam, but when you sit to analyze the mock, you actually realize that they were easier and you just did not attempt them. So these are three cases using which you can identify which is your weaker area or weaker chapter that you need to focus on. So once you identify, make sure you don't clutter it and you don't come up with a variety of topics that you need to work on. For today's exercise, just pick one chapter, the toughest chapter, the chapter that you think you faced most difficulty in. Just one chapter. In fact, put it down in the comments that which is that chapter that you face most weakness in. Just put it out there so that you know that this is the chapter you want to work on. After this step, you need to work on that weaker area before taking the next mock. I had made a video recently on the Unacademy free mocks. One of those mocks is taking place tomorrow, that is Sunday. Now, if you want to improve yourself before taking that mock that every aspirant around is going to be taking, then I am going to give you some tips that I used to improve geometry once I had identified that I didn't like attempting geometry questions in the mock. My first step was to revisit my formula book or the place where I had written all the formulas and tricks and to notice whether I was able to understand those formulas. And to be honest, I did not. There were so many formulas, so many concepts that I just kept getting confused. So the next step I decided to follow was to watch videos on YouTube. At that time, there used to be a channel called Takshila Shikshak, and I started watching the videos from that channel on the geometry topic in order to strengthen my concepts. While I was watching the video, I came across more concepts or topics around which I had not noted down the formulas in my formula book, so I added those formulas in there. The second step I followed was to revisit the questions from the geometry chapter from the mocks that I had already taken. So I took all the mocks that I had attempted so far, picked up just geometry questions from there, and after having gone through the concepts from the videos, I started attempting those questions or started at least reading the solution of those questions to see whether I had grasped all the concepts. After having done this exercise, the final step was to take up some sectional tests. You can also practice questions from your workbook, but I took sectional tests from my coaching institution and I started solving more and more questions from the geometry part in order to strengthen the concepts. That's how I worked on my weaker area. I spent approximately 2 or 3 days just on geometry in order to strengthen the topic so that I am able to attempt more questions from it in the final mock that I take. Now, a question that a lot of you might have is that if, let's say, you have skipped certain chapters in order to prepare prepare or focus on only a few, should you still carry out this exercise? My answer to you would be yes. Just spend one day on this exercise, put it in the comments which is that weaker area that you're scared of, and work on it for just one day. And the reason is because you are not doing this in order to improve your mock scores. You are doing this to fight off the fear that's there in your heart. When I had carried out this exercise, that was not because I was not getting good marks in the mocks. 93 percentile was a decent enough number during this time in the mocks. But my fear in my heart was that I was scared of geometry throughout. I did not feel comfortable with it, and I wanted to get rid of that fear. I'm not sure how many of you have watched the movie Karate Kid, but in there, the protagonist is a child who is being bullied by a lot of other students out there, and he wants to fight them off in a championship. Towards the end, he is so badly injured and he is not even in a position to fight that championship. But yet he decides to do so, not in order to win the championship, but because he wants to get rid of that fear in his heart that's there. And he says that even if he goes out of there as a runner up, he would still carry that fear. Even if you get 90 percentile or 99 percentile, why would you want to let that fear stay in your heart? Just fight it off. Put in the comments which is that one chapter that scares you the most, that you have tried preparing for but you're not able to attempt questions from that during your mocks, and put it in the comments. Start working on it the way I have described. Take out just one day for it today and spend it on improving that section and fight off that fear. You don't have to fight off that chapter, you have to fight off that fear. So that's all I wanted to share in today's video. Understand what your weakness is, work on it, and fight it off. All the very best, guys. Thanks for watching this video.